Welcome to the GPLama YouTube channel and do a quick look at the new and improved Favero Assioma management app version 4 that's just landed in the App Store this week. Pulling up the changelog before jumping over to the app to see what's new. Changelog first. I love a good changelog. Fully functional without an internet connection, improved data display for real-time metrics, submit support requests directly from the app, sensors history for quicker and hassle-free pairing, and enhanced support for firmware updates and spare parts. That's the changelog. Let's jump straight over to the app and see what that's all about. I have some saved sensors that are here already. I will wake up a set of Assioma Duos that I have in front of me. They should pop up. There we go on screen. I have a set of Pro MXs on the bike over here. Just one sec. They should wake up in just a few moments, like right now. And we'll jump over and go into the sensor to see what this is all about. Okay, please wait a moment. And once connected, it will show a nice picture of both sensors there. So both sensors, serial numbers and IDs, status, battery status, firmware status, and if there's a firmware update, you'll get a little banner across the top to update your pedals as well. Also speaking across the top there, device, live and settings. We'll do live last. There's a bit of a deep dive I've got for Zwift and the additional metrics that you get with the Pro spindles. But that's what you get for connecting directly to the pedals over in settings. Now here's a few tips on this one. Crank length can be set within this app. You can set crank length if you are using a head unit. That will override what's set on the pedals. But if you're using indoor software such as Zwift, it doesn't have a crank length setting. You need to set that on the pedals. This app is where you do that. Calibration, which is just a zero offset or a tear on kitchen scales, effectively. You can do that. Let's perform one of those right now on those pedals. Done. Successful. Done. Favero pedals do have auto calibration, so that's only really needed after the first install and a couple of hard pedal stomps, I guess, and they should be good to go from there. Automatic standby, these pedals will go to sleep after a default 5 minutes. You can change that. Travel mode is also important if you're moving long distances with the bike without riding it. Let's say you're traveling across the other side of the world. Bike is in a bike box or a bike bag. These sensors will wake up with movement. You don't want that. Put them in travel mode. You will need your charger to wake them back up, but that is what travel mode is all about. Power scale factor, if the sensors are a little bit out or you want to scale them to another power meter or indoor trainer, you can do that via the app. Switch from double to single mode, so converting a Pro MX 1 to 2 or 2 to 1, whatever you need to do there. Firmware updates, and under advanced setting is a static weight test. And it's a big document on exactly how to do that. Now I've used that for two purposes. Firstly, to check that the pedals are correct. I have a 20 kilo known weight. I can hang off both sides according to this procedure, make sure the slope is correct. But if you don't have a known weight and you have a dual-sided power meter, you can use the same weight both sides to make sure both sides are reading the same. So if you think your left-right balance is off, but you don't have a calibrated weight, you can still use this as a tool. Now, once performed, you don't have to accept any changes or offsets that it gives you back. Anyhow, that's a whole other topic for another day. That's the advanced settings, probably not something you'll need to touch. Okay, backing out of that and to the hamburger at the top, we have help settings, system information, and go to shop. If we go to help, you can request a support ticket, and this is pretty neat. The pedals that are connected already have the information filled in. You put your message in there, your contact information, because you do not need to log into this app. You can use this app without setting up an account and just get things done. But if you do need to raise a support ticket, obviously they need to contact you back. That's where you put in all the details and away you go. They can read some diagnostics from the app as well. Upgrades and spare parts, manuals and data sheet, quick start, checking serial numbers, etc. Right, that's all the details there. Let's have a look at the live information and what that's all about. Okay, playing this at 1.5 speed so we can sail through all the information I have on screen. I have power instant shown on the pedals, cadence. I've got that set to 10-second averaging because, well, that's what it's set to at the moment when I hit record. Power phase information and, more importantly, peak power phase, which I've set to 5%. That can be configured. And that's a little red dot that's glowing away on the screen. Now I've got the Jet Black Victory. I'm going up a 5% grade, 6%, 7%, and of course that peak power phase rises up above that 90-degree line. When it flattens out, just like it does outside, that will come down to 90, if not flatter, as I get more on top of the gear. This is a really interesting way to quantify trainer ride feel. More on this soon. Below that, PCO, which I think is one of the more important additional metrics you can get from a power meter. That is your platform center offset, where you are applying the power to pedals. PCO is only reported on the Pro spindle, so those with the Assioma Unos and Duos will not get PCO. There's also torque efficiency and pedal smoothness, which I've never quite been able to use. Now, changing peak power phase to 25% of the power arc gives us a little more insight on what's going on. Not just a glowing dot, we now have an orange banana sausage, I guess you'd call it. But as I'm on flat ground, that is now more towards the 90-degree angle. Pedal balance, obviously, there on screen too. And as I go downhill, and obviously the Jet Black Victory is removing all resistance, this is still using virtual shifting, that peak power phase goes below the 90. Again, that's exactly what happens outdoors. So good to see that trainer simulating that indoors on a -4, -3% gradient. That'll come up a little bit as I change through some gears. And there it drops down below the 90%, as we'd expect when there's no resistance. Now, the information shown here in the Favero app is not saved anywhere at this point in time. If you need to analyze it, you'll need to record it elsewhere or screen record and review it later. One way to record this information, both indoors and out for further analysis or real-time analysis wherever you're riding, is with a compatible Garmin Edge unit that supports cycling dynamics. And you can see on screen here all the same information: power phase, peak power phase, pedal balance, platform center offset. And as I crest this steep gradient on the indoor trainer and return to around a 1% gradient, you'll see that peak power phase return to around 90 degrees. Now, the usefulness of these metrics, well, you've seen me demonstrate how they work and how they respond, but I think PCO is a really interesting one to at least measure to see that you're putting out the pressure in the right spots on both feet. Okay, there it is, the new and improved Favero Assioma mobile app for management of their power meter pedals. Not something you'll be using every day, and if you have a head unit that connects to your pedals, you can set the crank length with these head units and also send manual calibrations if you need to after installing or swapping them around. However, for any of the advanced tasks, you'll need to load up that app and get the job done that way. Now, according to Favero's own social media channels, I guess we'll be back in a few days' time with some more news. Stay tuned for that. If you want to be across it as soon as that's released, hit subscribe, you know the deal, and we'll see you soon.